All right, man. We've got some very, very, very interesting stuff going down here. So, if you guys recall Politicon 2018, right? Very hypey event. There's a lot of hype around it. I covered Politicon very in depth, so I remember all the things that happened very vividly because I was, paying attention to making videos and all the things happening. And so Politicon from the jump was kind of weird because there were a lot of they didn't get everything scheduled until very late, and there was a lot of like mix and matches going down, a lot of panels and debates falling through, and so it was already kind of like on a bit of a rocky scale in general. But a lot of right wingers were backing out, and this is very significant because it was a turn of events in the left versus right wing sort of sphere, whatever you want to call it. Because prior to that, the right wing was always talking about how, lefties never want to debate, they always want to be in their echo chamber and all that kind of stuff, and we'll get into some more detail about that later on. But, it was a very big shift, and I tried explaining to you guys as hard as I could. Like, guys, this is very, very significant. The fact that, now the tables have turned, and what I was trying to accentuate was that, if this were on the other side, it would be like we'd hear for about it nonstop, literally ad nauseum. So, just kind of take note of that. Now, Sam Seder has dropped, or he's going to drop some info in a second, but remember after Politicon, David Pakman's like, man, I gotta tell you guys, there are some people who are conservatives who chickened out of debating. And we figure out who he's talking about, and he's talking about Stephen Clam Chowder, the guy who does the Change My Mind debates with college kids. Okay, Stephen Clam Chowder, the guy who challenged Kyle Klinsky to a debate a couple years ago. Kyle declined, and he went around and, sort of had a little parade about that whole thing. So we'll get into that portion later on. But first, I want to show you what Sam said about what went down, just so you understand what happened. Let's hear him out.
The thing, in this space, when there's a phone call, people don't want emails released, right?
See, this portion also plays into where Kyle Klinsky talked about how he found out through a telephone call that Candace Owens' team said that she wasn't ready for a 1v1 debate because they don't want emails or text messages to just be able to be on record to be leaked. Do you see what I'm saying?
And I was told on this phone call that Steven Crowder ghosted. Literally stopped responding to their emails and decided, and I think the quote was, pretty sure the quote was, somebody got cold feet.
That's
I guess
Crowder is.
I guess someone.
Oh, thank you. And so now I think it was smart of Steven Crowder to avoid debating me at Politicon.
Yeah, he can't just go up there and put on a tutu and say Stalin. It's not going to work. So it was a wise
he has
move.
a sign out here. All right, let's take that out. Nice try. But he has, as you can see, he's sitting out there. He has a sign that says, "Change my mind." I would like to invite Steven Crowder to come on this program, and I will attempt to change his mind. Or I will go on his program and attempt to change his mind. Or I will meet him anywhere, at nearly any time, at my expense, to have the opportunity to change his mind with the one stipulation that we record it on video with sound.
So he explained there that basically throughout the conversations with Politicon, basically he just stopped responding and dipped and basically literally cowardly ran away. And apparently his dad is his manager, and so he made the executive decision that, hey, Clam Chowder, it's not a good idea to do this debate with Sam because you're going to get murked. Now, and as you just saw, he challenged him to a debate. Literally the most lenient sort of, rules, stipulations, whatever you want to call them, to have this debate possible, where it says, literally at my own expense, I will do a debate wherever the hell you are, wherever I am, whatever. And what's crazy is this video right here has 3.1k likes and 1.6k dislikes. So that's a significant amount of dislikes. And it's because some Crowder fans rated the video. And so when I was looking at some of those Crowder fan comments, a lot of those Crowder fans were saying things like, oh, why would he debate you? Steven has like 4 million subscribers. You only have 400,000. So now the only people that only people who can expect to debate Steven Crowder are people from the Young Turks, because they're the only ones with any comparable sub counts, which makes no sense. Seriously, they were legitimately arguing that 400k subs, that's not enough to do a debate with Steven Crowder. That's on top of the fact that he literally debates randos, college kids, for his segment called Change My Mind. And so it's truly remarkable to me, and it was just kind of showed me, once again, which I already knew the conservatives are really stupid, but, the fan bases of these morons are really, really dumb. They were literally arguing that, 400k subs doesn't meet the cut. By the way, now they're at 620k subs. It's like, 400k is not good enough. You need to get to 4 mil to debate. Like, what? A, that's insanity. B, you debate literal rando college kids. So that was pretty insane. But Sam Seder sent this out on Twitter because Stephen Clam Chowder sent out a tweet on Twitter saying, President Trump is not Iraq. Change my mind. Now, if you don't believe that President Trump is Iraq already, despite all of the things that he said, either you're Iraq as well, or you're just a fraud, or reactionary, or just, kind of being a D-bag on purpose. It's one of those three, honestly. But throughout all of the history of Donald Trump that we know now, especially with the hotel that his dad had owned, where they just refused to give out rooms to black tenants. They just simply refused, and they were sued, and they lost that case. There's just no way to disagree with this, especially with the comments coming from him recently, with the, send them back and all that stuff, and go back to where they came from and all that kind of stuff. You're insane. So, Sam Seder sent out a tweet. He says, for Crowder's eyes only. Stephen, do you really want to have a discussion over this? Because as you've probably gathered, I have some audio and documentary evidence. You're nervous about it. This is very, very interesting, okay? So he's got some audio and documentary evidence that Steven Crowder is nervous about the debate. Now, when I tell you I cannot wait for this information to drop, you guys know who I am, you guys know what I do. This would be like peak content for sure, obviously. I mean, I want to see that evidence. I mean, it would be, obviously, we already believe Sam Seder. We know he's right. He's not lying, obviously. And that's evidenced by the fact that Steven Crowder refuses to even acknowledge Sam Seder's existence as a whole. But it would be a whole new tier, whole new level if he literally has documentary and audio evidence of this. It would truly be a game changer. It seriously would. So I really hope he drops this. This was dropped 4 days ago on August 6th. Today is August 10th. So I'm not sure when he's planning to drop it. I don't know. I'm really excited, though. I know that. I'm very excited to see this evidence. It's going to be really hyphy, but I'm just, I still can't believe just how crazy it is that, this how quickly everything flipped. And so to get into that, if we rewind here, this was back in 2016 was when this video was. Okay, this video right here was from 2016. Okay, they did a video where they were saying that the lefties use too many curse words to fill in basically lack of just sort of reasoning or points or whatever, and it's an easy safe zone to go to, which is really cringy SJW, PC, and big time loser fest. But let's hear what Stephen Clam Chowder has to say.
To come up with. And by the way, the only reason we use Kyle Kalinske, I know some of you are fans, is because he addressed me and insulted me in his last video, but then refused to show up for debate.
And I really admire the guy. He knows how to frame.
So as you saw there right there, this did happen. So what happened was, if you don't remember this, basically back in 2016, Kyle makes a video where he talks about and he defends free speech on college campuses. He's doing a news story about trigger warnings, and he's disavowing them, and he brings up some what he called strident right-wingers in that video, and that list included people like Ben Shapiro, Ben Shapino, Stephen Clam Chowder, and I think those two are the main people that he had brought up. I don't know if there were any other names, although I don't recall those other names. But, and then basically in response, Stephen Clam Chowder challenges Kyle Kalinske to a debate. Kyle declines because at the time, he probably wasn't ready, as well as he doesn't view debates, especially a debate with Stephen Clam Chowder on his show. It'd basically be a setup in the way that he does it. So, he views debates as a WWE match, which is very true, of course. And so I don't know if Kyle would accept the debate or not now, but this is just, and so after this, everyone was saying, oh, Kyle, he just, wants to sit in his echo chamber, refuses to debate, blah, 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 blah. Now, fast forward to 2019, Stephen Clam Chowder backing out of a debate with, Sam Seder. Obviously, Dave Rubin refuses to speak with anybody who has any leftist ideology whatsoever, unless you're like a superstar of some sort, running for president of the United States. You have Candace Owens backing out. Of course, she's a fraud. I guess Charlie Kirk's really the only one down doing anything. Ben Shapiro, the supposed god of debating, he didn't even do a debate in all of Politicon in 2018. He literally didn't do a single debate. He just apparently was just like, he's not doing any debates that year. So, and then Ann Coulter, of course, switched over to, she's a lunatic. She's an idiot, obviously. But I have to tell you, man, it's pretty crazy how these sides have flipped, I have to say. So, never forget that, man. Never forget that, okay? Do not forget that, okay? Bring it up all the time. You know what I'm saying? Always bring it up. By the way, apparently the guy, Jared here, who was like his co-host, was, I don't know, treated poorly as an employee, and so he dipped out. I don't know if he was fired or dipped out, but just an interesting little factoid I'd throw out there for you. But I'm surprised, Stephen Clam Chowder is really that scared. I mean, maybe Sam Seder should just show up to one of his Change My Minds. I'd be really, really curious to see what his reaction would be. But anyways, with that said, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Very curious to hear them. Is Sam Seder going to drop the info? How are you going to react to that info? Will the Clam Chowder and Sam Seder debate ever actually happen? Let me know your thoughts. Very curious to hear them down below.